The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. As Jesus continued his journey to Jerusalem, he traveled through Samaria and Galilee. As he was entering a village, 10 persons with leprosy met him. They stood at a distance from him and raised their voices, saying, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." And when he saw them, he said, "Go show yourselves to the priests." As they were going, they were cleansed. And one of them, realizing he had been healed, returned, glorifying God in a loud voice, and he fell at the feet of Jesus and thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Jesus said in reply, 10 were cleansed, were they not? Where are the other 9? Has none but this foreigner returned to give thanks to God? Then he said to him, "Stand up and go. Your faith has saved you." My friends, the gospel of the Lord. A relationship expert by the name of Gary Smalley was the president and founder of the Smalley Relationship Center. He used to conduct seminars throughout the country. Well, for one particular session, he borrowed a friend's Stradivarius violin as an illustration. His friend had the violin flown in, complete with its own security guard. As you can imagine, it was worth a lot of money. But during the seminar, Smalley held up the violin for the audience to observe without revealing its true nature. It was old, it was scratched up, with no strings, so it didn't look particularly impressive. As he held it up, he noticed that the audience response was minimal, to say the least. All they saw was an old violin. Then he began to explain that this was not just an old violin that he was holding. He told them that there were only a few of these left in the world, and it was valued at millions of dollars. He then showed the audience the tiny inscription that read, "Stradivarius," and then the spontaneous applause and the noticeable catch of breath throughout the crowd. Just a few minutes before, it was just an old violin, not worthy of special honor. But by attaching the word Stradivarius to it, it suddenly was given a high place of honor. Today we celebrate Thanksgiving Day, as we know, here in our nation. It's a day set apart when we are invited to focus on the people and the things of honor in our lives and offer appreciation. Coming towards the end of a very difficult year for so many of us, and still living with the uncertainties of COVID-19, there is still much to be grateful for. The people who made our past 9 months easier. The faith that lifted our hearts, our minds, and our spirits. God's constant presence in our lives. Today we come together to say thanks. It might not be the traditional Thanksgiving that many of us hoped for, with family and friends able to visit and gather. However, it's important to keep in mind that the restrictions caused by this pandemic will pass. Things are going to get better. COVID-19 doesn't define us, and COVID-19 will not defeat us. We all know that the first American Thanksgiving was celebrated in 1621. The invited guests included Chief Massasoit, with 90 men of the Wampanoag Nation, along with 56 white settlers. The meal was prepared, tradition tells us, by 4 pilgrim women and 2 teenage girls. This could be one of the reasons why the early pilgrims didn't celebrate Thanksgiving regularly. Can you imagine all that work? But the conditions weren't perfect, yet they made the best of it. They were offering thanks for the blessings received following some extremely difficult years. Jesus in today's gospel expected thanks for giving their lives back to 10 lepers, because essentially that was what he did. He gave their lives back to them. Only one has come back to express appreciation. Jesus noticed. We must never fall into the practice of the 9. There are in each of our lives people and blessings that we may take for granted. The Stradivarius, because it was old and looked like any other violin, did not get the attention of the crowd until its true identity was revealed. Thanksgiving is that day when the true identity of the significant people and blessings in our lives are revealed. It's that day when we're not permitted to take anyone or anything in our lives for granted. They're all blessings from our wonderful and loving God. And as you know, I always believe that the scriptures must challenge us, otherwise they're dead. So maybe for reflection today, I ask myself, for whom and for what am I grateful today? For whom, for what are you offering thanks today?